Good afternoon, everyone. This is Peter Gianetti of Gourmet Insider. I'd like to welcome you to the Gourmet Insider Town Hall, Lessons in Reopening in Progress. It's a pleasure to introduce you to today's moderators, Emily Cappiello and Lauren DeBellis of Gourmet Insider.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
So we are so excited to have everybody here for our second town hall. And we'd like to get started by introducing retailers. So I'm Emily Cappiello. I'm the editor-at-large of Gourmet Insider magazine. And our panelists today are Pam Gabriel of Sweet Gourmet in Tyler, Texas, Jimmy Hines of Cook Shop Plus West Hartford in West Hartford, Connecticut, Sarah Nicholas of Ladles and Linens. She has 3 stores in the Virginia area, and Brad and Karen Hughes of Artichoke in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm also joined by our managing editor, Lauren DeBellis, who is lovely, amazing, talented, and she paid me to say all of those things.
Quite true. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Peter. I'm so happy to be here and to conduct this panel with you, Emily. And thank you to all of our panelists as well. We'd also like to thank our sponsors for today's webinar. And our sponsors include the Atlanta Market, Kingston Cutlery Company, CDN, Cristal, Cuisinart, DKB Household, Gel Pro, Heritage Steel, Heston Culinary.
Wait, there's more sponsors. We'd also like to thank Jura, Kichikuri Cutlery. I'm very sorry if I messed that one up. Las Vegas Market, Le Creuset, Magic Line, Mud Pie, Nordic Wear, Now Designs, Progressive, The Neg, and Wellness Mats. All right, so if we can have all of our panelists turn our cameras on, we'd love to get started and kick things off. What do you guys say? Perfect. So Pam, I wanted to get started with you because you didn't really close during the pandemic, and now Texas is kind of seeing a second spike. So I'd like to just see where you are and kind of what you've learned throughout the process before we get into some of the reopening best practices.
Okay, well, you're right. We were able to stay open when it all kind of first started back in, late March and whatnot, when everybody down here in Texas for sure closed down. We were considered essential because not only are we kitchen store, but we're also gourmet foods, specialty foods. We sell a lot of Wagyu beef, cheeses, things like that, olive oils. So that, I'm just so tickled, was, made us essential. So what we saw through that, when people would come in, we cut our hours drastically. We were open 4 hours a day, closed Sundays and Mondays. But we saw that people would come in, they would buy whatever it was, mostly Wagyu beef and whatnot. They would get their stuff and go. And it was really a surge of about 11 o'clock in the morning until about 1. We were open from 10 until 2, 11 to 1. People got it and they got back home. Once we started reopening, we lengthened our hours, and we've had a lot of traffic. But now, over the past week, we're such a hot spot down here. We're still seeing the traffic, but so many people are so more cautious. We're seeing, of course, we have to wear masks now, or supposed to. People are still buying, but what they're buying is really mostly foods again. In the beginning, it was foods. I couldn't sell, a Dutch oven or a nice knife or anything. They were coming in to get foods because they were just all sure it was the end of the world.
Do you think too, I know up here that was an issue going to the supermarket and the food store. So do you think a smaller store like yours that sold foods for them was more convenient or maybe less scary?
I think what it was for us is, if you'll remember, they gave a big push about trying to keep supporting your mom and pop local business. And I think the majority of that is what we experienced. We also had, I think I touched on this, a big supply of Wagyu beef. And there was the scare that the beef was going out and this, that, and the other. So people were flocking to us to get the beef and the cheese, that type thing. But I think really, I really have to attribute most of it to our town rallied around me and said, we don't want you to go out of business. I think that was most of it.
Perfect. All right. So something that I want to cover with all of you guys, or that Lauren and I'd like to cover with all of you guys, of course, is some of the challenges that you've had as far as reopening goes. So Jimmy, I'd actually, if you don't mind starting, I'd like to go to you for this question, and then I'd like to see, who else and what else, where else the challenges have been. So, as far as reopening goes, what's been the biggest challenge for you?
Sure. Thanks for having me on. It's been a bit of a funny one, to be honest. There's probably been less challenges than I had thought there would be. We're lucky, I suppose, in Connecticut and the local area that we're in, that people kind of are doing the right thing. They're across what they should and shouldn't be doing. So I suppose the biggest challenge for us has been, because we reopened back on the 20th of May. So we've been open to semi-normal, restricted hours for a little while now. The biggest challenge, I would say, has been getting our local community to know that we're reopened. I think because we're, not all retail's the same, not all services are the same. The hairdressers, the barbers, all that kind of stuff are still shut. So the challenge has been to get people who are coming into town and maybe going to the supermarket and going, oh, I wonder if they're open or not. And the assumption at the moment is, oh, they're probably still closed. We're getting people through the door, which is nice. The foot traffic is increasing slowly, but it really has been good to see you open, fantastic. Like what Pam said, it's the support locally has been fantastic, but it's good to see you open again. You go, yeah, we've been open since the 20th of May, and they go, oh, really? So it's not tapping the new audience and trying to attract new customers. It's influencing and trying to get on board our regulars, our local community, to know that we're open, and we're open limited hours, but we're still open for people to come in.
Are you communicating that to them via social media or anyway, or you're making
it definitely, yeah. But the struggle with social media is a lot of our market are an older market as well, so they're not necessarily tapping into our Instagram account. Right. And like most people, they tend, we don't really read the details. So it's person by person. It's the age old kind of word of mouth. We get one person know we're open, then the word kind of spreads. So we're doing it old school as well as the new mediums.
Yeah, exactly. Karen and Brad, what about for you?
Well, one of the things was not quite like Texas, but we looked at what the governor said when they shut us down originally, and we realized that he controlled it by not allowing employees in the building. But since we own the building and since we own the store, we figured we could come in. So we sort of went below the radar, and we weren't technically open, but we did curbside sales. Just Karen and I ran the store. We would drive things out to people's homes. We would let people do it for private showings. So the advantage to that is we kept moving through there. So our machine didn't shut down. Our machine just kept going, but at a very lower level. We had sales for 42 straight days. Actually, Easter was a good day for us. And people would call up, are you open? Because nobody else is. And yes, we were. And so once we started up, the biggest thing, the same as I understand from Connecticut, was letting other people know that we're actually open. We still get calls today saying, are you guys open? And yes, we sort of came out of that, not from a dead start, but we actually had a momentum going coming into the opening back on the 12th of May.
And we opened up with our regular hours. We never cut back our hours. In fact, we added 2 hours. Wednesdays and Fridays, we open an hour early for at-risk and elderly like us. So
Wow.
Yeah, we actually kind of increased a bit. And it's out on social media. We put it out on our website. We do emails, and we, for everybody, we said, yes, we're open. These are our hours, and we still get calls. Are you guys open?
We are we have a little bit of advantage. We live right next door to the store also. So people call us up and they'll call the phone and yes, we're open. I'll walk next door and open up the store for you. So that is an advantage we have.
That's kind of funny. So Sarah, you had 3 stores to reopen, and you were in the meantime doing some like amazing things on social media and doing your own cooking school and all of that. So which I think you're still doing, right?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, we're not stopping. That's been really successful. That's been a positive thing that's come out of all this. The big challenge for reopening we never, I guess, technically closed completely either. Because when it all first happened in March, I guess the big challenge has been my sanity, because from March until mid-April, it was me running 3 stores. So I was doing curbside pickup 2 days in Roanoke, curbside pickup 1 day in Lexington, and curbside pickup 2 days in Richmond. So and there's 6 hours round trip apart. So I literally was just driving like 24 hours, but it happened. But we had to revamp our website. So our 4th location has been really good for us. So that was always open. Curbside was always open. But then when we got the PPP money and people were able to come back to work, we opened with limited hours. The challenge has really been, I think, for us, which you guys didn't really mention this, but maybe it's just me, customers' expectations of like, I want it now. So our store operates with 3 locations that are geographically in Virginia, but not on top of each other. So we shuffle inventory, which is great. But if someone wants curbside pickup and it's in Lexington, they're like, I can't pick it up today. So that's been kind of a funky challenge for us. But I mean, customers have been really great. You know, we've never really stopped working and being open. The website has really taken off. We did private shopping, which was really good on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for elderly clients or people with autoimmune or immune compromised conditions. So that's been really good. And then, yes, we've definitely expanded our social media reach with the virtual cooking school on Facebook that I do every week. And just ramping up the, Instagram, whatever, just to keep our faces out there. But honestly, the biggest thing, and I know Lauren and I talked about this, was just sending personal letters to those people that always shop with us and say, hey, we're still open, come see us, or we'll come deliver to you, or whatever it may be. And so we've had like the people that always shop with us just shop with us, like I swear sometimes almost exclusively, like they'll call us for eggs, and it's like, we've never carried eggs. Thank you for trying. But so that's been really good. We have a great customer base to pull from, but we've been reaching new people too. So, I mean, it sucks, but getting creative and, trying other things has definitely brought us new clients as well. So
how have you mitigated that buy online, that demand? Have you just, tried to explain to them, this is kind of just the way it is right now, we're so sorry, or, do you offer them a coupon or how's that go?
Yeah, sometimes we'll offer them a discount if it's going to take more than a week, because sometimes it does take a week. Because I mean, I'm also homeschooling a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, and it's just a lot to do. I've actually hired my mom. I've hired my sister. So we have cars running from like all over Virginia. So we usually can do it every week. But people are usually pretty understanding, and especially now, the ones that aren't totally loyal to ladles that just come and shop and want something, pick up that day. I'm like, sometimes I'm not catty, because I'm never catty. I'm a super nice person, as you all know.
Mm-hmm. Yes, she is.
Sometimes. I'm just kidding. Just say, well, look on Amazon. How fast can you get on Amazon? And they're like, oh, yeah, okay, I can get it faster. So that's been good, because the other people that people always instantly shop with aren't doing it as fast as we are. So thank you, Amazon. That's been helpful. So, I mean, we just try to smother them with kindness.
Right. We get it.
Gotta do it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now that you all are welcoming customers physically back and they're coming in, how are they responding to the new safety measures that you've been taking for them and for yourselves and your employees? How has that response been? Who wants to maybe kick that off?
I can give a little quick on that. So y'all know we weren't hit super hard in the very beginning, but now Texas is terrible. And so in the beginning, people, like if we saw, let's say if we saw 60 people come in a day by June, let's say by June, maybe 5 or 8 of them were wearing a mask. Okay. So, but we social distance, and we have signs that say, please social distance, all that. Everything was going great. Well, now we are required to wear a mask. And that has happened as of the past 5 and 6 days. So we have had people, this is just to let you know the good, the bad, and the ugly, I guess. The majority of the people are very nice, but then you've got the ones that are the problem, let's say. And just even yesterday, I could tell you 3 stories of people that were so ugly because we asked them to please wear a mask. We even sell masks for $1 and say, you know, and they still refused. One man bolted right through us. He said, I'm coming for one thing, a bacon press that I called about. I'm not wearing a mask. And he walked right through us, walked up to the counter. And now we all have on masks because that's what we're supposed to do now. And he bought the bacon. And I was thankful for that. But there, you know, he wasn't ugly or rude, but it's just very, I think we have such maybe a different in economic standings. I don't know really to say this politically correct, but you've got the people that understand, and then you've got the people that are just like, you're not going to tell me what to do.
Okay.
That's some of the mentality down here.
I understand. So dealing with that has added just another level to your, what you need to do and manage and oversee for yourselves as owners and your employees.
That's right.
And maybe Karen and Brad, have you experienced any of this at your store?
We have not. Up until the last week and a half, it was not mandated. It was mandated for us as, you know, workers, employers, but people could come in without them. We only had maybe 1 or 2 people that really had any kind of issue with that. And what I did is I made about 24 masks. We have them at the front along with hand sanitizer and signs saying, you know, we appreciate you wearing a mask. Please borrow one. You know, we had a little bin to put it in when you're done. We wash them. So people were actually very willing to do that. And since it's been mandated that the customers have to wear them as well, I don't think we've had a single person in who has not either come in with a mask or walked in the door and said, oh yeah, I forgot my mask, you know, we give them one, or, you know, they're willing to do it.
Well, it's also,
So we're lucky.
we're lucky too, because the governor, I think DeWine got on top of the virus very early on, and people were listening to what's going on. And for the most part in Ohio are following, but city council also, when we got, our county was designated as a red county because of the spikes. Basically city council passed an ordinance. So now it's not just a requirement by the state where enforcement's kind of rough. Now it's actually a city ordinance, and it goes along with a $25 fine, and it's a misdemeanor also. So we really haven't seen, and I think the folks that come down to our area, for the most part, they listen to NPR, and so they understand facts and science. And so we haven't, and we've talked at length about how, you know, with our sanitizer, we do that to make them feel comfortable. We believe in the science. We're lucky because we have a very good HVAC system with downdraft. So I've turned the compressor, or I should say the blower on, full blast 24/7. So if someone does sneeze, immediately all the particulates drawn to the floor, goes through high quality filters. So yeah, the people really, it's just a different mentality, I think, down in our.
I think when he's talking about down here, we're in a very, very urban area. We're in an area that is exclusively small business. There are no chains, and people are very, very attuned to that. And I think that so many of our customers know us, and I think they're much more responsive for those reasons.
And Jimmy, you're sort of, I mean, you're close by to us here in New York, so our experiences have been similar. But can you talk a little bit about how your customers are reacting as they're coming back in, and maybe your coffee bar customers as well?
Yeah, no, we've been lucky. I would probably be the best description. And I mean, we probably did what most of you guys do. You sit down before the opening, you think, okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to enforce? What if? But we just went by the Connecticut, what they got, the town and the state rolled out. I mean, our policy has always been, you know, having a face mask. We've always worn them. Our team have, and we require people to hand sanitize when they come upon entry, and they have to have a mask on during their stay. We probably went overboard in some respects. At the entry of the store, we had a big on a sandwich board. We had a poster. That you can't turn a corner of the store without reading something about social distancing and wearing a mask. So our kind of theory was, if we just, it's undeniable. It's these are the conditions of entry. And we like I said, we've been open for a few weeks to the general public again. One or two have come in without a mask, and we're just non-confrontational, because we've heard stories about how people can be, like as Pam was saying, can get a bit ugly, shall we say, but like kill them with kindness. But I think, if you wouldn't mind, if you could just pop your mask on, that. And the 2 or 3 people we've had to do that, well, I didn't realize. So we've been lucky, and thankfully.
Yes, exactly. And Sarah, I think you had wanted to mention a comment or two about your experience.
Yeah, mine's been kind of interesting, because Virginia, the governor's been pretty strict about what to do, except I have 3 different localities. Right. So they've all been different phases.
Yeah.
So that's been interesting. Richmond's behind, and there's a lot of other stuff going on in Richmond, which I'm sure everyone knows about, which we will not talk about. But so we have the signs, like we have baskets at the door, and if like all the baskets are gone, you have to wait outside. Like, that's kind of how we're controlling people. Like, if you don't see a basket, then the store is full. So at the beginning, we were allowed to have people in without face masks, but we just asked, like, if there's other people in the store, just wait, and we'll take you privately, because we were having issues with people that were mixing with face mask, non-face mask people. So that was fine. But then, then we all got in different phases, and now the problem we're having is that it's very politicized, the whole face mask issue, which I think is nationwide. It's not just Virginia. But now they're actually, if we don't enforce the face mask, which we have been, we're subject to lose our business license. So it's kind of putting us,
wow.
of having to be like police, for lack of a better word. So I'm right now, like, that just happened like the last few days. So I'm trying to kind of help train my staff, which I do have a law enforcement background, so I know who to call.
Yeah, you do.
But, like, if you feel uncomfortable, do whatever. But we have some pretty polarizing people, I guess, in our communities that refuse to wear face masks. But overall, like, it's kind of, I think Karen was saying, like, or maybe it was Pam, I can't remember who it was, I'm sorry. But our customers know us. So if we ask them to put on a face mask, they're going to put on a face mask. And we actually have disposable free ones that we just hand out to people. So that's been helpful too. But I mean, you have your outliers for sure. But the big thing is, the problem has been, like, we can't be across, like, we have people that stop in Lexington and then go to Roanoke, because those are 45 minutes apart. And they're like, well, if you're in a different phase, it's like, right. Well, now you have to. I'm sorry, but you didn't before. And then Richmond's always a phase behind. And now the governor's talking about going back a phase, because now we're in the 43 states that are on the rise again. So, I mean,
that's confusing for you guys to have to deal with. What phase are you in, and what am I under? And, having to figure all that out.
Has really just been like this whole, like, we're going to have to be the enforcers of it. I never want to put my people, because I'm not in 3 stores at the same time. So, and I work from home most of the time, and I have excellent people, but I'm asking them to, like, kick people out. Like, we can lose our business license. You got to go away. Like, I mean, that's a difficult position to put someone in. So, it's going to be a bit of a learning curve. But okay.
Well, speaking of business, I'd actually like to switch the conversation a little bit to your supply chain at this point. I've heard a lot of varying things throughout the country. I was speaking to a retailer today who basically was like, we could be selling more if we could get more inventory. Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of discuss some holes in your inventory, or maybe some flow that you've seen kind of off, and really what you're doing to mitigate that. So Jimmy, I'd like to start with you, only because Jimmy and I have had a little background about this already. So I kind of know what he's going to say. So that's why I want to start with him.
Fantastic. No problems at all. It's been interesting, because when we were operating through the shutdown online curbside, and we did a lot more business than I ever thought we would. The good thing about that was, when we were ordering during, say, March, April, May, the stock levels and stock delivery wasn't really an issue, unless the companies and vendors were shut down and weren't shipping at all. Everything was coming through quite well. since we've been reopened, and obviously everyone's coming back. They're doing a bit more shopping. Now we're encountering some issues with flow of stocks. Doing an order and majority being out of stock and so on, which just makes it difficult because a lot of the time, I'm sure with a lot of us, you have a supplier for X or a supplier for Y that you just go pizza stones. I get them from Harold, for example. Now the fun and games start where, okay, they're going to be out of stock for 2 months. So I have to go and find another supplier, and which, can be a good and bad thing. It opens up new vendors. You may do an order with someone that you may not have done in the past, but it certainly adds a lot more work, and and then that flows onto, customers' expectations about, what do you mean it's going to be 3 weeks? And you well, it's not, I can order it, but it won't be here. And so it's that communication of it's not us, it's them. And, we bear with us kind of thing. So I think it has been a challenge, I think, for the last couple of weeks. I suppose my concern is as this thing drags on and we may not be coming out of it, then my concern is more for as we get into quarter 3 and quarter 4, and having reliable stock coming through. And, with the turmoil in the business, it's kind of, we're open less, we're servicing less people. So we're obviously not selling as much, but I don't want to overorder and have to. So, the age-old retailers struggle is stock, inventory. It's making it a little bit difficult in that regard to forecast. I need X amount of these, but can I actually get them? Right. And I think that's going to be something we're going to have to be juggling for the next kind of 6 to 8 months, I would say.
Yeah. So Karen and Brad, your store is super curated and beautiful, but super curated. So how are you kind of dealing with this as far as any sort of supply chain issues and demand from customers?
Well, I would echo some of the previous comments is that when things were really pretty much shut down, we didn't have as much trouble because I think a lot of our vendors had stock and they were thrilled to find somebody who would take it off their hands. It's kind of reversed now where we are having a lot of supply chain issues in not just China, but Europe. We're having trouble with, some French and other companies that are having trouble getting things here. We're also having trouble with, for example, one of our American companies that makes things in this country, and it's less the problem of them having them made, but the warehouse where they had to lay people off, where they've had to shut down due to COVID or whatever, and so they're weeks and weeks behind. What I've found is our customers are very understanding. First of all, a lot of times they can't find it anywhere else either. So it's not like it's available on Amazon, and a lot of times they're out too. So, but I think the fact that we're so small, we know our customers, they're very understanding. They come in and I say, well, I'm sorry, we can't get it. We always take your name, number, we'll call you when we get it in or whatever, but it has been a big impact on us.
Well, I think one of the things also, we have become creative though. People will say, I need X, Y, Z. We can't have that right away, it's back ordered. But I think if you took ZC3 and you worked it like this, it would just very similar. And they go like, you're probably right. And so we've actually been creative in that. So people are, we've actually had, again, our customers seem to work in our own zone right there in that with creativity.
That's actually great though, because that makes you so credible to your customer. It's like, I have a problem and you guys have a solution. It might not be the solution they thought, but this industry so well, you presented them with something else. And at the end of the day, they got exactly, what they needed and they didn't know they wanted. So I think that that's a win-win for you guys.
It's always good to, have them get something that they didn't know they needed.
Exactly. So Pam, what about you with food? You do carry so much food. Has that been a problem? I know that you do make some food yourself, like your pimento cheese and some of those chocolates, but I ate a whole container of pimento cheese at Pam's store, just FYI, you guys. So, yes.
Well, that's interesting. I'm glad you asked about that. We have experienced, I can just ditto everything that everyone has said. In the beginning, we could get the hard goods, and like pots and pans and textiles and things like that. But as we got into June and, you know, I was seeing back orders and things like that, our customers have been so sweet because we say, you know, the coronavirus is everywhere. It's not just here. That's all we have to say. And they're like, just call me. I'll go ahead and pay for it. And whenever it comes in. Food. Most of our food suppliers have been Johnny on the spot. I have not experienced the outages with all of our manufacturers in food like I have with the others. If anything, my food vendors are calling and saying, hey, we're running buy 6 cases, get the 7th free, you know, things like that to go ahead and get some supplies out of their warehouse. Sometimes it takes them a little bit longer than what they normally would because they're unlimited warehouse people or, you know, things like that. But for the most part, the food is what has been the constant for us. Whether the chocolate, some of the chocolates that are made are sort of made up on the East Coast and different things like that. And again, warehouse workers, we had a little trouble getting some of those in, but you know, all of our others have been really good, really good.
So Sarah, what about, since you have 3 stores, I thought maybe you'd be the best one to answer this. What have you seen as far as sales? Have you seen kind of bigger ticket items walking out the door? Like maybe people are buying less, but they're buying for higher price points, or are you seeing, you know, more kind of gadgets and such walk out the door? I mean, I feel like,
I actually
yeah.
think it's what you said, the first one, like bigger ticket items that I would not expect. Like we've been selling, we had to reorder Dutch ovens, and we order Dutch ovens maybe 3 times a year. We've already ordered them twice. Since people are just cooking at home and cooking in bulk. So cookware, unfortunately all-clad, we don't have all-clad anymore, but we sold out of the all-clad before that happened. So that was good. Knives, so many knives, and the La Crusade and that kind of thing. Yeah, they've been selling really, really fast. And then blenders and things that like I don't actually like to carry as much of just because, you know, it's not moving as fast. Has been moving fast in the coronavirus. And then of course anything bar or bread related is just gone. And if anybody has any proofing basket, please give me a vendor that I can get proofing baskets, because I literally have a wait list of like 20 people. No joke.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I thought the bread making thing was gonna kind of like taper off a little. We were gonna move into like ice cream or something. It's summer. Like, do we still want to make bread? Isn't it summer body time or something?
No.
They're hooked now.
People aren't wearing pants on like Zoom meetings. They're wearing all they want. Sorry, that was kind of vulgar.
It's so funny.
Very funny.
But stretchy pants. So I think the new trend this past 2 weeks has been pizza. Pizza. Like I can't find enough stones to like satisfy people's hunger for stones, which has been kind of interesting. But as far as inventory goes, so we aren't as curated, which I think would be helpful if we were more curated. I mean, we have like, you know, like we have curated stuff, obviously, but we have everything. So in that aspect, people expect us to always have stuff, because we always have every little thing you could possibly imagine, which is good most of the time. But we've had to reach out to, you know, some of those like local people to make masks, or like local like we found a local bread proofing person, which is very slow at processing them. So
Sarah, by the way, Mark from Freelink just sent me a message that said broad form and bread proofing bowls are coming next month. So
he's the one that's been on back order.
He's the one.
But I did just put the Freeling order today, because those wall pans, man, we just ordered them last week. That is the cookware. It is the expensive items that are selling. It's not the gadgets and the little stuff. So
interesting.
Karen and Brad, what about you guys? What are you seeing over there?
One of the things that there was actually very interesting, there was a Wall Street Journal article about 4 weeks ago, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but it basically said that big ticket items are selling, and one of the reasons is there are a lot of people hurting out there, no question about it. They don't have jobs. How do I make the rent? But the majority of people actually have jobs. They have money. They got their government stimulus check. They can't travel. Restaurants aren't much. They've got money. They're sitting at home all day looking and said, God, this cookware sucks. And we're actually, if I can do a shout out to one of our sponsors for this right now, We have sold more Cristal right now in this last couple of months than we have probably in 2 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we're finding that people are just coming in and buying things that they wouldn't normally.
Yeah.
So it's been really interesting. It's sort of like they're sitting at home feeling sorry for themselves. And it's like, you know what? Heck, I'm going to treat myself.
That's
So-
great.
People are really making the investment in their homes, and they're kind of realizing where the deficits are, where they're lacking. I mean, I just realized for the first time in my life that I don't own a rolling pin. I've owned my own home for 10 years. 10 years I don't have a rolling pin. So
Get you one.
We'll call this the virus bump.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Interesting.
Exactly.
You know, I was going to say too, what Karen had said.
Mhm.
Our now, not the first like 3 to 4 weeks, not March into early April, but like once Easter hit,
Mm.
our Le Creuset, Stoves, Willing, all of that has flown out the door. People would come in and just, you know, I need new. I don't care what my husband says. That's what they would say. And I mean,
Too. Yeah.
you what?
I heard that a lot too.
Yeah. And it was, if you see him, don't tell him I was even in here. I mean, so it has
So
been
now that
really spurred us on.
I love it. So now that you've had time to sort of see what your customers had been looking for and where they're going now and what they're continuing to looking for, what is it that you can use most from your vendors? You know, what sort of support and what sort of creative ideas are you looking for to continue, you know, meeting your customers' needs? Who would like to go? Maybe
But
Pam.
I cannot wait to go back to markets. Me, my staff, we all get so inspired seeing the showrooms and all of those great vendor showrooms that are our sponsors. Going in, seeing that they have great ideas, just their displays, their knowledge on the products.
Yeah.
You just, I'm telling you, it's hard to get that on, you know, Zoom meetings. And I've sat yesterday, I sat in on it was an Italian buying deal. And if I had been able to go to market, I could have bought that line in about literally 20 minutes. It was an hour and 45 minutes.
Oh gosh.
So that's one thing that I'm just needing so bad is good markets and getting back out there and getting inspired.
Gotcha. Jimmy, what about you? What are you looking to sort of partner up on from your vendors, or what sort of support are you looking for as we don't know if we'll be back to markets yet?
Yeah, it's a strange one because we don't know, to a certain extent, because it's not business as usual. I can't, you know, the vendors we support or get stock from, you know, I'd say there's probably 60, 70 vendors. We're a bit like Sarah in that way, that we have everything, and if we don't have the 15th peeler, you can buy the 16th version of it. I think I know what I've been asking for more of, and I'm discovering that I'm needing when I'm doing the ordering, is things that we probably didn't need before, such as out of stock lists. So we'll just use Freeling as an example. You know, our rep's been fantastic with that, kind of going, you know, if they're seeing that we order a lot of proofing baskets, or we're seeing a lot of bulk cookware, coming through and saying, these are out of stocks and the ETAs. It helps us as far as a customer coming in and saying, you know, can I get an 8.5 inch X? And you go, yes, give me a sec. Yes, but it's not going to be until November 1st. It's kind of helping us manage those expectations. And again, like I said earlier, I think that's going to be more and more of a thing moving forward. But it gives us, the retailers, as much information as possible in order to kind of forecast. You know, it's all good and well sitting down and doing an order for a company or a vendor and going, great, tick it off the list, you know, the ever-growing list of to-do. And then it arrives and 4 things have arrived. So you kind of go, well, now I've lost 2 weeks trying to find them from somebody else. So a lot of that obviously comes back to us, but I think it's going to be a strengthening between the retailer, the vendor representative groups, and the vendors, just to get that information flowing about what is and isn't in stock, and timelines, which is probably the most important.
Right. So maybe that's strengthening and communication.
Yeah.
Sarah, what about your opinion?
Well, I wanted to echo exactly what he just said, because that's very important to us. But one of the other things that I've been noticing too, I've been ordering, like, Freeling's a really good example. Freeling's getting a lot of,
Yeah.
I love Freeling. Hey, Mark. But lower minimums, because I'm not able to plan like, because we might be going back a phase. Like we may not go back to school, like, because the governor is threatening that. So like I'm only able to plan like 60 days ahead, and like so like the whole Christmas thing is just I can't even talk about it because I don't even know what's gonna happen. But like if you have lower minimums, I'm ordering more, and if I have an out of stock list and I have lower minimums, like Freeling's amazing because they have $75 minimum. Like I can order special orders all day for people. You know what I mean? So that would be helpful. And one of the things that we've been doing that might be helpful to you guys, I didn't think it was going to work. And my staff kept suggesting it to me was we're doing all these, like if we have like All Clad, we did KitchenAid, we're getting ready to do like the big ticket items, La Crusade. We have like your Christmas orders, like special order now.
Yes.
So we're like ordering for Christmas and getting people to special order for something they might want later, just so we know. And we usually trust our customers, and sometimes they pay, which is even nicer. But that's been really, really helpful. So we know, like, and then if it's, you know, out of stock till October, fine. We know they don't need it until Christmas. So
That's a good idea,
like,
Sarah.
Christmas sales, holiday sales, like, you know, is the better way to say it. But that's been really helpful. So that's a good tidbit for everyone because customers love it. They're like, oh, I'll just get it all out of the way now. Like, I know I want a 7.5 quart Dutch oven from La Crusade for my wife, you know, and they're ordering it today. So that's been helpful.
You know, Sarah, something that you brought up actually was that you may actually have to go back a phase. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to hear from your perspective and from everybody else, like if it happens where you do need to close again or you need to go back a phase, is there maybe a lesson that you learned that you're going to take with you the next time around? I mean, hopefully this doesn't happen, but you know, best practices.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. I need a second to think about that. So many lessons. Anybody else wants to chime in? Luckily, the phase that will go back for us won't change much for us.
Okay.
But the thing that changes is the customer's mentality, right? Like they get kind of scared, like, oh, I don't want to shop anymore. And then your sales go down. So like for me, it's just for us, honestly, the internet has been the savior. Making that more robust, getting more online, getting the back to school stuff online, encouraging parents to pack lunches, even if you have to homeschool, because it's a good, healthy habit for kids to get in. You know, just like restructuring the customer's mindset. Like I can like tackle that better now because I know what they want.
Right.
I would order differently, you know, because I know if people aren't going to the store, they're going to be wanting the proofing baskets. They're going to be wanting the cocktail shakers. Right. So I would stock up on those things. I would stock up on things differently, I guess. If I would.
Jimmy, what about you? Because you are in the Northeast, and you know we're in New York, and you're in Connecticut. We're about an hour and a half apart, so we were hit kind of hard. And you guys opened, I want to say earlier than we did. But what have you learned if you have to kind of go back again now that we're looking at a possible second wave?
Yep. It's funny you should ask the question because we talked about this amongst our kind of managers group, and in a lot of ways, yeah. In one way, obviously, going backwards isn't a great thing for everyone and everything, but in a lot of ways, I think it would be. It's going to. There's a lot of lessons we've learned, which we can obviously use then going forward. But it does throw up a lot of lessons that we haven't encountered again, because I think customers' mentality, their attitude will be different than it was the first time around. Particularly for us, it was when we kind of saw the writing on the wall and we thought, okay, we might have to close here. We were lucky enough. I mean, since we've been here 5 years, we've always had a website. So 75% of our stock, 10,000, 11,000 products are up online already. So for us, it was just an easy kind of pivot to buy online and pick it up curbside. We pretty much switched the switch on that one pretty quickly, and our local community responded. I mean, I was probably the first time in my retailing career that I've ever can honestly say that, when customers say, oh, I love to support local, I love to buy local, and they actually did. I mean, I was blown away by how many people who didn't even know we were there, bricks and mortar style, who lived 2 streets over, jumped online, saw us, didn't know what it. So there definitely has been some positives that has come out of this. And I think if it were to happen again and we would have to close, I think we probably would pivot to obviously online again. But what I'm mindful always is we're in a different stage of the year by then. So for us, spring and summer, it was good. We pivoted to, barbecue, grilling, all the bread related, bar related things like that. As we come into, if we have to go back a step coming into the fall, for us, it's kind of, buying something you need because you're now cooking is great, but buying a gift is more difficult to do remotely. And have
Right.
it, do you ship it to me? Do you ship it to them? Do you gift wrap? All that. So, you know, it does throw up a lot of, and it's hard to sit down and kind of go, you know, what do we do if, what do we do when? Because if you did that, you wouldn't get anything done. So, you know, for us, we're planning for the best. We're planning as if everyone's going to be wearing a mask and sanitizing their entire body for the rest of the year. And planning accordingly and hoping that, you know, the Christmas sales come through, because people at the end of the day are still going to buy holiday gifts. They're still going to buy Thanksgiving gifts, even if it's different. And I think that the silver lining has been, you know, who knew that bread would blow up? Who knew pizza would blow up? So, I mean, we're very lucky in a way that we're in a need business, not a want. So, you know, people went, oh, we're at home, let's bake, let's cook, let's do whatever.
Pretzels are next.
Exactly. Yeah, well, that's what I keep hearing. Yeah. You know, I'm hoping it's something that like they can buy 4 or 5 things. That would be ideal, you know. But yeah, we will see. But yeah, I mean, I think as much as in place at the moment, I think we'll just keep rolling through. And if we have to go back a step, I think we've all been fortified to a certain extent that we've done the hard yards already. And then it's just to keep on adapting, which, you know, I know is very unusual for for retailing. You know, we're not used to adapting.
Different times.
It's
Well,
Exactly.
Karen, you're actually going backwards. So what have you learned that you're taking with you now?
Well, yeah, we all up here are a little bit concerned that, you know, any minute he's going to come and say, you know, we got to close down. But again, I'm essential. So we will remain open, but we're hopefully it will differ. The first time I had 3 of my girls that work here that were, you know, had a, what is it called? Compromise, you know, when you're either you're
autoimmune, yeah.
So we were 3 girls down. So it left 3 of us to do the work. And what happened was, and I would do this much differently now, the phone was to have, it's okay, Karen, get it. It might be a sale. But they were at their house. And so they would call and we were their personal shoppers. Well, there was only 3 of us. And
Right.
so it was when we would leave that day, and again, we were open 10 until 2. It would hit about 11 until 1 or 1:30. We would leave and we all 3 would look at each other and say, you know, this is not physical like Christmas. This was so mentally draining. I mean, we were thankful for the sales. We really were, because we were having good sales. What I would do different now is those 3 girls would be here. We would have masks. We would prepare better, and we would just have telephone lines devoted to that, to where we could handle better. More, just let me run out there and get your credit card and things like that. I mean, all of those 3 girls in the past, we would leave and we would be running all over Tyler, taking, you know, products to our good customers that just didn't want to get out. They were scared.
Right.
So, you know, you all, just like every one of you guys have said, you do what you got to do to, you know, keep that money coming in. So that's what I just think, if we do go backwards, and we could, I mean, you know, they've kind of knocked our restaurants back down. I think we're better prepared, and I have a better game plan, and I kind of, you know, think I'll be better equipped, and I can handle those, you know, the people that just really, they're bored. They want to call and they just want to talk to me on the phone. 300 other people want to do that too, you know.
I can actually one up you on that one. I was stupid. This was stupid. I had every 3 stores phone calls forwarded to my cell phone.
Why?
Yeah, we all made that mistake.
So nervous to miss a sale. So I would have people call, hopefully no customers can see this, right? Because I would have people calling at like 9 o'clock at night, like, I don't have a Neptune ice ball. And I'm like, okay, we'll take care of you at 10 o'clock in the morning. Like, I was just so nervous to miss a phone call. So I would never do that again.
Right.
Don't forward the calls to your cell phone.
Yeah. What I'm hearing, and we're all hearing, is you're learning new ways to manage new customer experiences, perhaps, and adapt to how your customers, you know, what they want and what they need, based on what's going on and surrounding us, I suppose. Karen and Brad, are you finding any out of the ordinary behaviors or, demands from customers or similar to Sarah?
Well, actually, one of the things, again, when we shut down, which we really, we sort of went below, we were living next door. So actually I had all of the calls forwarded to my cell. And so I
We had the store phone in our
In our
dining
house.
room window,
Oh my
so
goodness.
we could actually
and
catch
there,
store
and it
calls
wasn't
there.
uncommon. We would get at 8 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning a call. I would get them at 8 o'clock at night for something, and just the two of us, a cat and a dog. So I guess we didn't have to worry about kids. But the biggest issue is, we just run over and do it. But you're right, you do what you have to do. But if I can build one thing that really would help us that we learn now that we're going forward is so many of our really good vendors out there have created portals for us so that people can buy online. And I guess I'll toss out Zwilling has just been awesome at that. When they first opened up the portal for Artichoke, it's been rocking selling. We never stopped. We're still doing it. And as a result of that, though, we've actually decided for us, this is a big capital investment to actually put the wall in our store, which there's not a whole lot of room, but it's been so good. And the fact that they opened this up for us to be able to go from 780 square foot to literally 4,000 square feet with that virtual store. So we're seeing more of our vendors are opening that up for us, where it becomes our portal into their world, and then we get credit for it.
There have been several companies that have done that. I think that's one of the things we would be able to carry forward if we should have to move backward. We have some options that we didn't have before, and it's because some of these vendors have been extremely creative, and they've understood what we're going through, and they're really trying to help out. You're talking about minimums. We've had, we just asked, can we lower our minimum for at least one order? And they're great. They're to buying too. They needed somebody to be buying their stuff, so they were, it's better to have a sale to us than not have one at all. And so some of them have been more creative than others, but there's been some really great ideas that they've come up with that have helped us tremendously.
Karen, I want to ditto what you just said about the Zwilling. That was wonderful for us and our customers. When we, explained it, we did it all via email kind of, and our customers would call and say, now, are you sure that you're going to get credit for this? And of course, yeah, we would say, of course we will. They'll take care of us. That was just, it helped us so much. And then another thing was, I got to do hats off to Le Creuset as well, because they allowed us to do, and you guys too, everybody, to do the sale, and you could advertise it. That's when our business there on the Dutch ovens right before Mother's Day and whatnot skyrocketed, because people could get a fabulous deal on sale, and it didn't just have to be in store. So our vendors have got our backs. I've always said, you're only as good as your vendor helps you to be. And I can't say enough about all of our vendors here at Sweet Gourmet.
Well, speaking of vendors, I've got one more question I'd like to ask the panel, and I'd like to know your surprise pandemic seller, and if it was one of those like good, better, best things, or if it was just something kind of crazy out of the woodwork. So I'm gonna start with Sarah.
Oh no.
You've been like the only one I haven't started with. You knew it was coming.
Okay. Surprise, but duck fat. But that's not a surprise because everybody loves duck fat.
Yeah, everyone's into duck fat
Well,
right now.
I just started carrying duck fat when the pandemic started, so that was like
your surprise seller.
I guess I wasn't surprised. No, okay, scratch that. But that is a good seller. Everyone get duck fat if you don't have duck fat. Oh my God. Well, come back to me.
Come back to you. All right, Karen and Brad.
I have a lot of them. Hold on. I'm trying to think of really kind of a funny off the wall one.
The biggest one for us is proofing baskets. I didn't think everybody else is, anything bread. We would never have anticipated that. And Dutch ovens go along with that because people are using them to make bread.
Yes.
I'd love to say something I would do on this one. With all of the work that's going into bread and baking right now, if I were we're a futurist or thinking the future, I would be buying Eli Lilly stock right now, because I think in 3 or 4 years, the diabetes franchise is going to go crazy.
The type. Oh my God, Brad. What about you, Pam?
I guess maybe a couple of things. The beef was a frenzy. One lady came in and bought $800 worth of beef. It was roast, and I mean, I couldn't believe it. And we were butchering cows right and left trying to get them, and then the butchers got backed up.
My God,
Anyway.
you live in Texas, though. Can we put that in perspective for a minute?
Yeah.
Yeah, all you have to say is there's going to be a beef shortage, and ooh, it's something.
Yeah.
The thing, I guess, I don't know. I thought, going into this pandemic, people would be watching their pennies, and frivolous sales, they wouldn't do it. Y'all, we were making batches of pimento cheese every day. Like and you that have been at the store, you've seen it. There are 4 huge bowls, and sometimes we would make 8 huge bowls a day. It's like 30, 40, 50 tubs of pimento cheese a day would go out. That was kind of shocking to me, because I thought, who's got $10 to blow on a little thing of pimento cheese? But they did. So I was thankful for it.
Jimmy, what's yours?
Well, mine's not as interesting as herds of cattle, but it's the same category. Yeast. I mean, we sold hundreds and hundreds of 1-pound bags of yeast, and I don't know how anyone in Connecticut doesn't have a pound of yeast. I think I swear to God, some people bought it and didn't even know what it was for. It was just because everyone was buying it. But yeah, I mean, we could not believe. I mean, we got to the point where we took it off. We weren't promoting it, because as soon as it would come in, we put it on Instagram, and by the end of the day, and then people would see the post the next day and ring and know so we're around for another week or so. So yeah, not interesting, but yeah, yeast.
All right, Sarah, you're not off the hook.
I'm ready. I actually texted people who were not responding to me. But one thing that has been moving really well is, which it always moves okay, but it's been moving better. And I think it's the way we kind of advertised it was, like all of these chemicals are, I don't want to use the K word, but I mean, we're saturating our bodies with Clorox and whatever, are like reusable paper towels, market bag, like anything eco-friendly. Like it was popular before, but now it's just like, it's really popular. The reusable paper towels, especially.
The bamboo ones, or?
Yes. So the ones from Full Circle are the ones we get, but like one roll, I can't even remember. One roll is 6 rolls of normal paper towels or something. But yeah, we're like, dial back all the stuff you're putting in your system. Use something, in it. Just, I mean, it's the truth. So the truth works. But anyway.
All right, guys. Well, we don't have any other questions for you. We hope that you enjoyed our time, and I'm going to actually turn it over to Lauren to give the final farewell to everyone.
Well, yes, thank you all once again for all of your wonderful information, and for sharing your best practices and insights. And of course, we would like to thank all of our sponsors for helping us to bring this to you today. And if you are interested to see the full recording, once again, there will be a link sent out to all of the participants today. And then you will also be able to see it live on Gourmet Insider, and we will be sending it out in our newsletter as well. So please look for that in the coming days. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Bye, everyone.
You guys are great. Thank you. We so appreciate it.
Be well.